What's going on, everybody? Wilson here, your spiritual hype man. Super happy to be back. And I am here with a special guest, my good friend, Justin Dolan, the man, the myth, the legend. Dolan, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for actually, coming on. Because I was like, oh, let me reach out to Dolan. Make sure. I was like, there's going to be a slight chance he's going to get on. I know he's a busy man. Congrats on the family.
And
Say what's
thanks,
up,
man.
Dolan.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Hi.
Of course.
Thanks for having me, man. I didn't know this was video until 5 minutes ago, so I threw a hat on. I tried to make it as presentable as possible, but I'm happy to be here, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. No, you passed the presentable part
Yeah,
of
thanks.
it. Good job. By the way, what kind of hat do you have, just so we can let everybody know?
This is like a really ratted out New York Yankees hat that I just found, but yeah.
That's right.
What
if you know Dolan,
New York Yankee
you
hat.
know he's a Yankee fan. It's all about New York.
Yeah, New York sports, baby.
Yeah, I remember that. So Dolan, let's I'll just go into it real quick before we'll probably have some new listeners, because of you, which is great.
Hopefully, I hope so.
We can get the $1 million view mark would be great.
Get some sponsors.
Yeah, that's right. But I just want to share with the listeners like what the nothing changes until you do mindset philosophy is. Ultimately, it's just the concept of understanding that life is just a bunch of situations from the day that you're born to the day that you die. And then in each situation, we make these decisions that then bring us to an outcome. And then over a long period of time, the accumulation of these decisions ultimately is our life, like just who we are, what we do, the things we see, the people we're with. And then so for us, it's just to, identify, and obviously people go through tons of things in life, right? But I feel like when you boil it down, the most basic denominator of these stories or these situations are the feelings that we get to. Right. So understand that like it's just a feeling that we're trying to obtain. And after that feeling, and if you don't like that feeling, then you need to figure out, okay, how do I change my decision in these situations when they come back up again? And so the thought would be influence creates thought. Thought drives emotion. Emotion drives action, and action then equals our outcome. And so if you're not happy with the outcome, what are those things that we can go reverse engineer? Can I change my influence? Can I change my thought? And then can I change my emotion when that situation comes up again? And that's how you start really solidifying change, or consciously knowing how to solidify change. Because I feel like people do make changes, but aren't really too aware sometimes of like what the change comes from. So
yeah,
that's for everybody. And that being said, we probably have, I know we got a little bit of time, so let's just get right into it. Dolan, I appreciate you, man. I just want to say that right off the fact. Like for most people, obviously don't know a part of the relationship. We met in college. And in college, it was definitely the wonder years times 2, right? So lots
Animal
House, right? Yeah. Anything else that pops in mind?
Hangover, you name it. You can write a book or a movie.
Yeah, 100%. We could definitely write a book or a movie. So I met you. What was it? It was freshman year. Freshman year because that's when we pledged, right?
Yeah, freshman year of college at Stockton.
Yeah,
Stockton State College. Yeah.
Stockton State College.
2009.
2009, right? And I also now I tell people Stockton University.
Oh no, 2005. I'm sorry, or 2006.
Yeah, we graduated 2009.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my bad.
Yeah. Oh, unless we're sticking with the 28-year-olds, because I just turned 28. So happy birthday to me. Your birthday's coming up too in December now.
That's right.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
All right. Very cool. All right. So college. The fraternity.
We were roommates.
Roommates, ZBT. So we were roommates. Sophomore year.
Full year. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. So you got a chance to actually see the whole Wilson in college.
Yeah, different phases of you. Yeah, like you said, we all have our phases in life, and
100%. So I just want to say, like, because this has been for a while. It's like, dude, I appreciate who you were to me in that lifespan, right? Because you were definitely someone that I looked up to, and I thought like there were things that you were. Like you were just such a good fucking person, like just a good dude. Like, and you always had you say good morals, like we always had a good time. We wanted to fucking, party and do things and stuff like that. But, like at the end of the day, like it had to pass the Justin Dolan check is how I see it. Like in order to, like, is that a good thing to do? Is it morally correct? So I just want to shout you out on that.
Cool.
Yeah. You always had that.
Sorry for dumbing down your college parties.
No, not at all, bro. I think
put a lid on it.
You were probably the reason, why it didn't get to a level.
No.
Because
It's funny you say that because someone, I think high school after prom, everyone goes to the beach and I rented a house for everybody. It's a stupid thing to do, and I would kind of regulate,
yeah,
good or bad, and they started calling me Uncle Justin, like just being
yeah,
that older
yeah.
figure to tell
Super
everyone to
fucking
chill the
responsible
fuck
now.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
trying.
For sure. And then I also like I don't know if I have like officially apologized for all the trouble I've put you through during that times. I know I've
Yes,
definitely
a couple
apologized.
times you have actually.
Have I?
We've caught up over the years, and yeah, we got dinner together, and
Yeah, I remember
uh,
that.
yeah, but
Absolutely.
like I know everyone goes through things, and apologies are awesome, but like you know, life is life, and you know, you move on and you
Yeah.
change.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
What was one so like just so we just because I'd like to set up for people that are listening that like change is possible, right? Like as far
yeah.
as all these things that we go through and the situations that we're in, and then just the type of person you may be now, and some of the
Yeah.
things that you're like, fuck, man, I wish I can XYZ because I don't want to feel this way, right? Back
Hmm.
to the feeling thing.
Yeah.
What was one of like your craziest highlights?
For our relationship.
Yeah. Like while we
Oh,
were in
well,
college.
I think something that always comes to mind, and like we were all so young, and like how to act was just also new.
Mm,
And you know what I mean? Like we had freedom, we had like an apartment, and we can drink, we could do this, we could do that, with no, w- we had no like no one was checking us. Like,
yeah.
so I think one memory that shows up is just like I think we were at a night out, I don't know where, but we came home. You bugged out and left, and we came home, and you were just the apartment was flipped, like stuff everywhere, and you were just shirtless in your underwear or shorts, sweaty, playing Guitar Hero, like Freebird, like super focused, and like we were like, "Yo, what the?" Like it was like demoralizing. You come home and your apartment's like flipped up,
Yeah.
upside down, and you're just not paying attention to us, and you're just mastering the solo of Freebird on Guitar Hero. um, that's what comes to mind is just like, but like we have memories that are different than that too. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So like
Yeah.
that's not what defined you. Um, but there was moments like that stand out, which you have approached me about, and we talked about it in length. But like again, like I said, we were also young and learning.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that like in moments like that, like we were always like trying to be a support system for you in those moments because you were a support system for us outside those moments. So we tried to do the same for you in terms of like, how can we help you avoid these situations?
Mm-mm.
I think it was above our pay grade at that point.
Yeah.
But again, those moments I feel like don't define the person that you were. So like I don't like to just focus on that. Like, yes, sometimes those moments or come to mind and their memories,
Right.
good or bad, but like you know I just when you ask me what memories are, I don't want to go immediately to those, you know what
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean?
But it's tough because it definitely was.
Well, like I was like it was like kind of sad because like you know you're such a great dude, and you know we wanted to be there for you,
Mm.
collectively, and help you get through those moments. But there's sometimes just like can't. I'll see you
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yes.
Talk to you later.
Right. Right. Right.
But yeah, no, that's
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate
yeah.
it for sure. It's even just like hearing the fact that you guys wanted to be there for me for those things. And again, I feel like it was a lot. People that
No, you
have
were there
listened.
for us, dude. You used to stand up for us all the time. Like, say if we go to parties and someone's messing with us, or like sports or something, like you were almost like a big brother figure for us at that time.
Mm,
So, you know, we couldn't flip that support. I mean, hopefully we did. I think maybe
oh,
we tried, but
100%.
like,
No,
yeah, exactly. So, but yeah,
100%.
that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, you guys were definitely the crew. You know, shout out to Cruz, Evan. All right.
Yeah, great guys for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, those guys were great. So yeah, you know, and then I would just make sure everyone got home. remember those.
Operation Drive Home Safely.
Operation Drive Home Safely. Yeah. Yeah, dude. So thank you for that. Cause definitely plenty of them. And I think that's what the issue was, is for me, it was just like every time I woke up and people were like, fuck you, Wilson. You know, like, I can't believe you fucking did X, Y, and Z. And it was just such a terrible feeling that I remember I remember the Elitris thing at her apartment when everyone was getting like partying or whatever, and it was like her roommate or something. I ended up like choking him out or something. And then I woke up the next day and I was like, yeah, how's everybody doing? And that like, I like, to that moment, I can still, that it just sort of solidified, because I think that was like junior year or going into senior year or something like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it just
I don't
solidified.
remember. Yeah, there was moments that, like, we got upset with you.
Yeah.
But it's like I said, we were also young, learning from whatever like life gives us, and that happened to be the season that we were all in.
Yeah. What was like a fun memory? Like, what was a good fun memory that you're like,
I think I mentioned it, just being really good friends
yeah.
and just being together, and having that support. It's really important. I think that's collectively what I remember,
Mm,
outside of, like, the typical fun things that we do, like big picture, like
yeah.
we all supported each other, and got each other through hard moments, and had a great time with whatever we did. Um,
Yeah, we always had meaning. I feel like our conversations had like a level of meaning to it. Like you
yeah,
always had that, you know, great mind, I would say, as like being able to have these conversations. I remember
yeah,
that.
no, we were definitely had some depth to all of our relationships, and it was great because we just being a part of different clubs
Yeah.
outside our fraternity, um, you know, doing things for the school. Um, we knew so many people. We were connected to so many people, and I think that was like really fun.
Yeah.
Even outside our fraternity, we still had many connections with different groups of people throughout our school. I think that's like what thing that I pride myself on, is like, not just being like associating with one group of people. It's
Yeah.
like we had friends everywhere,
Everywhere.
everywhere, and it was awesome, and that translated to having a good time wherever we went.
Yeah.
Um,
100%.
like free free entry into bars, bottle, like whatever. It was like just
It was some
it's
good
like
times, man.
whatever we
Yeah.
wanted was there.
Yeah.
And it was because of our network that we created,
Yeah.
whether it's through like intramurals and
Yeah.
um,
Jim Papa Guap, man.
class.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out Pop Guap, good
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so take me then through, and so again, thanks for that, man, and thanks for sharing those things.
Yeah,
So then take me through, like, you've done, and I think if we were to poll everybody in college, be like most likely to succeed and crush it, I think in our fraternity we'd say Justin Dolan, right? So
uh,
I
just
think
luck,
so, bro.
baby. Do you want?
No, yeah,
uh,
tell us what you did, yeah,
Um,
because you've done some great stuff, right? You've like, well, after graduation, if you want, you can take us through it, and then
I guess it's great. Define what great is. I'm just happy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's important. Um, but like, my career is something that came from our experience at Stockton.
mm,
Specifically, crazy story. I work in television and film. Always wanted to from high school. I knew it. Like, my grandma got me a camera, like, for Christmas, like a video camera back in like the 90s or something like that. And I
yeah,
just like make stupid shit with my friends, you know what I mean? So I always knew I wanted to do that, but like, I don't know if Stockton was the right vehicle. You know what I mean? Like,
right, right,
it was a great school. I don't know.
yeah,
Um, but so with our network that we just mentioned, I was trying to get an internship. My aunt, shout out my Aunt Karen, was like, "You need an internship." I was like, "All right, like, I don't fucking, like, what am I supposed to do?" So she had some connects, and uh, through town, and I got my resume together, and I got an interview with MTV, 2009 for an internship. And I was like, what's my experience? And it was a HR screening. They're like, oh, what experience do you have with like, communications or television? And I was like, I forget the guy who was the head of the radio station back in the day. I don't know if you remember
Oh
this.
yeah.
They had a radio station. He was like in flag football, and we ran the flag football league, so like we knew everybody. And I was like, hey, dude, like I need an internship. I need some experience for this internship because you need to have something to you know, get to the next level. And he's like, come by. I'll give you a bunch of CDs and you can circle all the curse words in the lyrics. Remember CDs had books
Yeah.
and the lyrics in it? So
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember B9, I would bring home like boxes of CDs. And it
Oh
was like the biggest BS internship ever. Like I don't even think he checked it. It was like one of those relationship things like,
yeah.
yo, I'll hook you up with a good intramural
Yeah.
schedule if you just like give me an A on my
You just do this.
at Stockton. So
Yeah.
I would just like circle fucking curse words on CDs. And so I told MTV that I was like, I circled curse words on CDs, like, oh, we have a perfect
Oh
thing
my
for you. So like
God.
something that like started off like so
Dude, that's
stupid.
crazy.
I never told you this.
No.
It was just like a bullshit internship with WLFR Stockton
Wow.
Radio turned into a 17-year career. Um,
That's
So
crazy.
yeah, so I told the girl, I was like, yeah, I circled lyrics and told them not to play it because it was FCC regulated. She goes, oh, we got standards and practices. You'll be perfect there. So I was an intern there before I graduated, and then I got hired a week before I graduated at Stockton, and I was
Oh
there
shit.
for eight years working on different things.
Wow. Dude,
Yeah,
that's
so
crazy.
the little moments like that, like you're talking about life moments. You never
Yeah.
know what little moments can influence. It's like kind of can drive you crazy, like butterfly effect, like where what you say no to, like what's it
Yeah.
gonna, you know what I mean? Like, but
100%.
but yeah, no, it's a good experience,
That's
fun,
crazy.
and it's you know.
And that set you up for a great foundation, right? So like
Mhm.
you worked in that. So basically you're working you were doing that for MTV for a while and
Yeah, I was
then
doing it at MTV. I was doing all scripted shows, um, unscripted shows when I first started. This when the Jersey Shore show was
wow.
like popping off hardcore.
Yeah.
So like, got to hang out with them, got to work on their shows, worked on Rob Dyrdek shows for years.
Sweet.
Um, I ran into like Justin Bieber just running in the hallway, like 13 years old. You know what I mean?
Randomly.
Like, yeah, like Rihanna, Mac Miller, really just awesome people. But besides like the celebrities,
Right.
there's one time I was camera blocking. There was a show on VH1 or no, yeah, VH1 Hip Hop POV. I don't know how it did so well, but their first guest was Kendrick Lamar.
No.
So I had to be there, and it was like me, him, and this cameraman. And he was like when he first started, and they're like, Justin, you got to be a camera block. Like we got to do camera blocking. You have to be step in as the host. So I
Yeah.
had to read like the prompter for the director to like
Yeah.
practice the camera moves. And it was just me, Kendrick, and this cameraman. And I did the introduction, and he like performed a song like right in front of me, like for practice. I'm like, what is life right now? It's like so
Dude, that's
weird.
crazy.
Yeah. So I love working there. MTV, shout out MTV, all those
At
people there.
MTV.
They're fantastic. Um, I was able to help other people from Stockton too to come to 1515 Broadway.
Nice.
Yeah,
Who
like
specifically and what were they
so
doing?
remember Torian? He was working for
Oh
MTV
yeah.
Radio, for a little bit.
Nice.
A couple other friends, Casey, Katie. Um, so yeah, like it's you get a platform and you start helping others,
Mm.
is what I'm trying to do as well. Being mentors to people is important to me. But yeah, after MTV, I went to YouTube for like 6 years.
You know
Lost my job there, which was a tough time. And then
is that because of COVID or just like whatever they
just
were doing there?
business change. They just, you know,
What
we
were
were
you
making
doing there?
I started with my colleague, my mentor, Jen. We started the
Shout out Jen.
yeah, shout out Jen. standards and practices department for original content for YouTube.
Okay.
And turns out creating original content from YouTube is like bringing sand to the beach. It's like, how do you do it? No one really watched our shows. Cobra Kai was one of our hits, and they sold it to Netflix.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But I think they realized it wasn't really. I don't know. I'm not a business guy. I just bleep and blurb.
Yeah.
It's
So they were trying to create like almost like their own Netflix presents. But
sure. Yeah. And there was some really good programming. It's just like I said, like bringing sand to the beach. Like, why are we spending the money on it if someone else can do it for free?
Right.
So yeah, that chapter ended, but I'm super grateful for it. Still, shout out to Google.
Yeah.
Just like a guy from Stockton College, like a guy from Stockton College, like sitting in orientation with like people from like Berkeley and like NYU. I'm just like, where did you go to school? I'm like, Stockton State College. Like, I feel like such an imposter.
That's funny.
But like, yeah, that's how it is. Like it's just like,
but
sometimes
that's just, I think for that,
what's up here. It's
exactly. Well, sort of, right? Because like I think once you get entry, I think the level of person then takes over. Right.
Yeah, and that's so important, dude. Like being a good person and making an impact with everybody that you come in contact with. Like there's some people that I've come in contact with in my career that I'm like, if there's an opportunity down the line, like I'm not even gonna think of that person. Like, like he was a jerk to me. Like she did this to me. Like, not like I'm gonna get back with them, but you remember those things.
Yeah,
and it sucks because people can change and people can get beyond that, but like it's just like that's all it is like relationships. But yeah, it was a cool moment to be in that world for a little bit. But yeah, now I'm at Apple, working on Apple original content, film and TV shows. Shout out to Apple TV.
Shout out to Apple TV and Apple.
Subscribe, please.
Subscribe to those guys.
I'm so proud of it. I love all the stuff I'm working on. I love my team. It's just really cool to be involved with these really amazing projects, people. The next level of my career is kind of here. Like, when I started my career, like blurry music videos, to like now it's completely different. Like my function has changed so much. It's more. I love the content. I love the people, most importantly. And just being in that world, like I said, ever since I was in elementary school, I knew I wanted to be in the television and film world. So like to be a part of that process at like at an acceptable level for myself, I'm really like thrilled. Are you thumbs down on me right now?
No, that's awesome, dude. That is awesome.
Yeah, so I'm no, it popped up on the screen for if it didn't record. So like I'm just a part of the process, which is fun.
I feel like the connection to, like, I would say if going back to, you knew what you wanted, right? So I feel like somehow the intention was always there with you, right?
Yeah, there was always a goal. I just like, I don't know, and I'm lucky that I found something that I gravitated towards and wanted to do. Like I feel like there's some people in life that maybe don't.
Still
I don't
searching
know.
for it. Yeah,
still searching for it. So like, but that's like where I'm at, like as a father now, because I'm always like trying to encourage my children to do everything and figure out, and if they do like something, like, go hard with it.
Yeah,
like
go do it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like trying to encourage every little aspect of their lives is really.
What are some of those things that are happening now that you're encouraging? Is it sports? Is it like creative?
Yeah, like I don't have an athletic bone in my body, as you know.
You were okay. You were good.
I just didn't care. But like my son loves like baseball, flag football. He also loves like everything, like sports. Like he loves the Giants, like just like me. Like we get to share that moment together. As you remember, like I would go with my dad and my uncle and my grandfather. It's like my only family tradition. So now like he gets to come with me and we have a great time together. I'm all about making memories right now. I just really want to ingrain positive memories on my children. As hard as that is, it's just one thing that I want to leave a legacy of, like,
100%.
He was good. You know what I mean?
Outside in, you're doing a great job, man. Like I saw that video.
I'm trying, bro.
You and the kiddo, like, and the kiddos. I was just like,
yeah.
Oh, Like,
We're having fun.
like it almost took me there. I'm like, man, fucking awesome. Like, it's just, it was like nostalgic, you know, to see like even to see his face in terms of like, you can see it in like in the short video clip. I was like,
You
this,
met my son, right?
I don't think I've ever like officially met these guys.
He
No.
came to my house a couple years ago. Oh, you met my dog. I have a picture of you and my dog.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Iggy.
Yeah. Rest in
Um,
peace, Iggy. Oh, dude, Ginger passed too a couple years back. Iggy, I remember Iggy. Yeah.
yeah.
You remember
Rest in
Ginger? Oh,
peace,
that was
Ginger.
crazy
Of
too.
course. Yeah, I love Ginger. She's
Yeah.
cutie.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think, you know, it's just wild because you get to a point in life and you're like, wait, like, you know, you and I, like, we talk on and off here and there, but like, we haven't connected like this in a long time. But it's not like, you know, nothing has really changed. It's just like life is just, you know, hits you
Yeah.
in the face. You just
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
kind of keep
You're
going.
doing your section of this little thing called life and the world
Yeah.
that we live in. Um,
Yeah.
what's so I feel like, you know, if you're okay with, can we talk about dad? Because
Hmm.
like I feel like
Yeah.
he was a big part of your life, and
Hmm.
going back, remembering the things that we've done. I remember you actually invited me one time over. I think it was during the summer or something. I came and
Hmm.
met dad, and I think I met your grandpa. I think I met your whole family, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we hung out, and it was like, and I can just feel like I can feel where you get that influence of like just being that type of individual where it's like,
Right.
you know, so dad like recently passed, and I would assume
Yeah. That it feels like yesterday, but
that.
it's like since June 2024, which
Mhm.
is crazy to feel because it feels like time kind of, you know, goes fast, like we just mentioned, but like it also feels super fresh. Probably the hardest time of my life still is.
Yeah.
But you know, it's funny, like someone close to me had said, you know, my dad, for listeners who don't know, he had a heart attack, um, kind of in front of, yeah, cardiac arrest in front of my family in his backyard.
Oh,
So
damn.
it was very intense. Um, you know, the kids were spared from seeing traumatic things. Um, but it was a really tough time.
Were you there?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh,
He
shit.
just got out of the hospital from like having a heart attack.
Mm.
So we don't really know what happened, but he was sitting there. We got lunch, and he just, you know, had a cardiac arrest in front of us.
Damn.
Um, so it was like a really long process. He was in the hospital after that. Um, you know, it was like a lot of hard decisions, um, a lot of reflection of like the man he was and all that stuff, and like, you know, instant memories of being a child, like, you know, are very vivid at that moment, like, you know, up until that point. Um, but like I think what I was trying to say is like, you know, someone close to me said like stuff like this doesn't happen to us,
Mm.
and like I was like, you know, I'm lucky up until this point in my life that like my father, my mother, love them. They We were also like shielded from the bad. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they protected us.
Yeah.
But that's not to say like bad things don't happen in life.
Right.
You know, like this happens. You know, whether it's like this or whether it's gonna be like this, like it's inevitable. Like life, there's inevitabilities. Death, taxes, and farts being funny. Like, oh, I think that's inevitable. So
Right.
like my response to that was like, you know, this does happen.
Mm.
And it's how you respond is how, you know what I mean? Like there's a choice in
Yeah.
how you respond. And it's not, doesn't make it easier, but you know, how you respond, you set goals, right? You go, I did cognitive behavioral therapy for a couple months afterwards. Um, you know, trying to raise children and be a husband after
Yeah.
that,
Right.
really challenging. Still is, because, you know, I can't turn off grief, you know what I mean? You know, especially when my children don't fully
Yeah. Grasp it.
grasp it. Yeah. Um, so those are the challenges that, you know, other than like really being grateful for the person that my father was, you know what I
Mm.
mean? I just, looking back, I just have a big appreciation. Just a quick story to add to that. I like to volunteer at my children's school, like go for lunchtime for an hour and hang out and just be there. I went to my daughter's class. She's 4, and it was cute. All the kids like got up. I don't know them. They got up and all just gave me a big hug. And my daughter gave me a big hug, and she's laughing. All the kids are being silly, and I disrupt the class. I don't care. And this one kid goes, my father died, like out of nowhere. You know, kids are, they just say things.
Yeah.
And like I stopped and I was like, shit, like, you know, buddy, mine did too, buddy. We're in this together. But like I walked away like really emotional because like he didn't have any like life with
Right.
his father, you know, like I had 68 years, you know what I mean? So again, I have to be grateful. Like I had family members say like, oh, he's gonna miss this and he's gonna miss, like, yeah, duh. Like when people die, they miss life moments, but I don't want to focus on that. I want to focus on the time we had together, and that was all positive. Like he just busted his ass to provide for his family, you know, like working like 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. at night, 5 days a week. Like I learned how not to work because like, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like was the type of person he was, and you know, I just choose to appreciate the moments that I had with him and the time that I have, and that kind of translates now to how I interact with my children. Just I want to be there for them. I want to create memories. You know, even if it like is detrimental to my financial health, I just want to be there and you know, make core memories and have a lasting impact. That's all.
Yeah. And I feel like, Justin, I feel like the influence that your dad had with you or for even the whole family, I feel like that's what you've encompassed as like the individual, right? So like you're doing it, you know, and I feel like you've always had that, and it obviously came from
Well, it was just support, dude. Like they
Yeah.
always like whatever they want. Like there wasn't any like you have to do this in life, or it's like you just do what makes you happy, do what makes you you know, and they're always supportive. Like, you know, whatever, they didn't try to influence anything. It was just like
support.
yeah. And you know, it's gonna be hard, I think, when that camera is flipped to me. Like, you know, when my son's like, I want to do this. I'm like, oh. My son's like, I want to be a professional, excuse me, football player. I'm like, yeah, go work your ass off. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I support you.
it's up to you. Like,
Right.
but like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not easy. But that's the only thing that kind of stands out to me is like, I always felt supported in whatever I wanted to do. So trying to do the same.
Are you not? You say trying. I feel like you are.
Yeah, right now it's like yeah, they're, you know, they're still very young. We can get to a point where like, you know, when life gets a little bit more serious. But at this point, I just want to like, you know, take their asses out of school, go on vacation. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, just
like I
create
just
memories.
yeah, create the memories, and then when, you know, because we only have them for a little bit.
That's true.
And then you know, life moves on. But yeah, still trying to, you know, work through all this.
Yeah, take me through that. So like you had mentioned, like sometimes you'll get these moments of where you're grieving or the emotional part of it.
Sure. In
of
like
life.
weird times, yeah.
And then how do you get yourself, like how are you working through that? Like
Yeah,
you
like I
identify
mentioned,
the feeling, right?
yeah, like what am I thinking? What am I feeling? What am I doing? 4-point check, or is that 3-point check? Like different cognitive behavioral
Mm.
things to help regulate. Sometimes better than others. You know, I have to remind myself like how to do it because it's been a while since I did therapy. I did like maybe 6 or 8 weeks, I don't recall.
Mm.
Um, but super helpful. I encourage anyone who's going through a tough moment to not just try to rely on this. I abstained from mind altering substances during that time
Mm.
because I didn't want to use it as a mask, you know what I mean, or get used to it as a mask.
Yep.
You know, I partake every now and then, but like I'm just mindful that like I don't want that to take over my feelings. You know, I want to feel. Um,
Dude, that's spot on, man. That's really
you know
good.
what I mean? Because
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I don't know why at the time I was like I can't have alcohol, I can't take a gummy, I can't smoke, I can't. You know what I mean? It was just like I
Yeah.
just want to. I don't want to allow something to like mask anything because if I like it, I'm afraid of like what could
Yeah.
come across. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, and then there's just like the changing of my life, you know, like it shifted into me, you know, being a son to me being, you know, kind of I have to be there for my mother, you know, my sister.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I don't know what capacity, like my mom is doing so great, with what I could tell. Um,
Good.
but like my priority is my family. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's my priority at all times. Other than work and all that stuff, but like trying to, you know, be together. And, you know, we do that in various different ways and we always get together and plan little trips and activities. Even if it's like my mom coming to stay over one night and hanging out with the kids, just trying to, you know, stay involved in every aspect and be supportive there as well. So it's like, you know, I got to support myself
Yeah.
and then also support those around you. It's really challenging. Um, but I feel like, you know, we have a very strong bond in my extended family, that we're all like kind of working together.
Yeah, dude, that's I think that's one of the most important things that if you don't have something like that, I feel like working towards it should be a goal because I feel like like and I've said this before where I think it's similar to like why people go to church and are very part of like the church community. Like
Mhm.
you know, there's a cohesive like understanding, there's a cohesive sort of family, you know, like
Yeah.
dynamics that these are the things we approve on and act on. And yet the support is always there if someone, you know, if someone's there or, you know, fill in the blank, you know,
Yeah.
intramural, you know, sports in college, you know.
Yeah. No, it was, we always surrounded ourselves
Right.
with a support system, you
Yeah.
know, in different groups. And that's like so important. You know, you can't do it alone, dude. Like even like we were subconsciously surrounding ourselves with support systems. You know what I mean? Like this is like as human nature, we just got
Yep.
together and uh, you know.
Even just being part of the fraternity, you know,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
there's always something there.
Yeah.
Um, Man, dude. And then could you take us just a little bit like what's the
Mhm.
most recent moment that like that sort of happened and then obviously work through and then
Uh,
do you work on shifting like the thought from like right because one thing we talk about is like shifting the prompt like when you're in that moment, you know, to something
yeah.
to get you out of it.
No, it's just like the example I just mentioned, like being in my daughter's class and that little boy telling me that his father died, like it hit me like that. I was like,
Mm.
fuck. And then like I'm not gonna just break down in front of you know what I mean? Like so I
Wake
was
up
like,
to
what?
these 4-year-olds, man. Right.
But
What's
there's
in
something
your
innocent like that, dude, can really just get you going. But it like I said, it shifted from like, man, I'm sad for this kid, but I'm also grateful that I had this time with my
Mm,
father. You know what
mm,
I mean? Because he didn't. You know what I mean? And
right.
like I don't know his situation, I don't know his story, but like I know that like deep down inside I'm just full with gratitude. Like so I tell myself
Mm,
like, you know, yes, this sucks. Like it is awful.
mm,
But there's also like what can we build from this? You know, it's how we respond, is what I'm always thinking in any situation. Like
mm.
I lost my job 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Like that was really difficult. You know what I mean? To how am I going to respond? Am I going to
Yeah.
be like waste away and
Am I
you know
gonna flip the couches and start playing Guitar Hero at 3 o'clock?
I
In
wanted
the-
to. I definitely wanted to.
Oh,
Uh,
definitely not the
but
way to
you
respond.
gotta fight, dude. Like this, no one's giving you shit. You know what I mean? Like you gotta. It's how you respond to these moments that of adversity. Like
Yeah.
I worked my butt off after I lost my job. Like I interviewed every other day with different companies, roles within the company.
Hmm.
And it was very stressful, because it's like I just moved into my house. My daughter was just born. Like
Man.
I'm like, you thought spiral. Like I try to avoid thought spirals, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to sell my house. Like I'm gonna have to move in with my parents. Like, you know what I mean? But like I had a choice, like we all do. Am I
Yeah.
gonna
It's those moments of decision making, right?
am I gonna spiral, or am I gonna fucking buck the fuck up
Yeah.
and work my ass off? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and I did, and that's what you got to do in every situation. Like you have to think of the choices that you have, um, and then you know play your cards that way.
Yeah, 100%. And just for a quick, just to re-emphasize the influence, thought, emotion, action. Where did that influence come from?
I don't know, man. There was one time I think I wanted to play football in eighth grade, and I was so small. I was like 5 foot. I got a growth spurt late on in high school, and someone's like, "You can't play football." I'm like, "All right, like I'm gonna sign up." And then I did. And I didn't really play. I wasn't really good, but like I was there. I didn't quit. You know what I
Right.
mean? I played one season. I retired. Um,
So,
got the gold jacket, but
that's
like
it.
just like not doubting. I don't say I have doubters, but like making that illusion of doubt.
Mm,
Like um, is influence to me. Outside supporting my family
right.
and being super thrilled in the world that I'm in, um, professionally. Um, I always just strive to, you know, be better, um, in any aspect, I guess. I don't know. Um, so yeah, I kind of use that as a chip. Like, did we go to the best school? I
Yeah.
don't know. But like fuck you. I'm sitting in orientation in Google right now.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like I went to a public high school in Bloomfield, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like 600 kids and 500 kids in the graduating class. Like I didn't think that my life could be at a place, you know what I mean? I didn't there was this time, quick story. I was the internship coordinator at MTV, and there was an initiative from HR. They were like, we're only hiring interns from Ivy League schools.
Well,
And I'm like, why? I'm like, this is what we're doing. I'm like, all right. Every one of the person I interviewed with was like, not it, you
right.
know?
Right.
I wanted a kid like us, dude, that like came from, hardworking families, didn't think they had these opportunities,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that was me. Like I didn't never thought I would have an opportunity to do what I'm doing today at the
That's
level.
crazy.
So like I'm always thinking of where we came from, and like Stockton College, like I thought I'd be working at Target or something. You know what I mean? Like
Jeez.
I didn't think that I would be able to do anything. But that's just my thought process. I'm not
Yeah.
talking about everybody, but
Yeah.
like,
Right. It's your own
like
internal, your internal,
if
your
it was up
internal.
to me, I would go to like a really good like good school,
Yeah.
like a Ivy League, or no, I'm not that smart, but like a football big.
Penn State University.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like I just like, and like we didn't go to anything like that. Not that that matters, but like
Right.
my first interview question when I was interviewing at MTV, she's like, "Why did you go to Stockton?" And I was like, "Because I couldn't get into any other schools." And she's like, "Justin, all I care about is do you have a degree?" And I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, that's cool. That's cool." Like I didn't realize it was, to me it was such a big deal. Like,
Yeah.
but that fueled like my fire to be like, "Oh, I'm just Justin from high school, and I'm just Justin from Stockton College that no one knows about." And then look at me, I'm around, like, did I cheat my way here? Like, I don't know. Like, why? Like,
Can we get the
it's
answers to those tests?
kind of, we kind of is a little, knowing the internship guy for the radio station. Like, it's
Uh,
not what you know sometimes, it's who you know. But that's the street smarts that we had. You know what I
right.
mean? Like we, like,
Correct.
I'm not discounting you're super bright. We all have our aspects of being bright, but like, I think that chip on our shoulder, like this
Yeah.
is what we came from is always there for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'll always be there for me.
Yeah.
I
I'm gonna
feel like.
fucking make it. And
Yeah.
I would taking it one step further. I would assume like that came from mom and dad, right? Like just having that support, like you had mentioned earlier.
Sure. I guess
You know?
so. Yeah. No, my grandparents were immigrants, and my
Italian,
parents.
right?
Well, my mom is Italian. My dad was Austrian
Oh wow.
and Polish and Irish. So like, all European.
Yeah.
But my grandma came here as an immigrant from Austria after the war, World War II. She was 12 years old, I think. So it was like kind of like, you know,
Yeah.
fighting,
Yeah. To make it.
they-
Fighting.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know many specifics from that time for her, but like it can't be easy. Like I can't imagine
Right.
like packing up from a war-torn country and
Right.
then moving to a new place where you don't know the language.
Yeah.
And shout out to our ancestors for making a foundation and
For
you
sure.
know, but it's always like that mentality is like, my family came from Jersey City, New Jersey, like we still have ties there. And I remember going there as a kid all the time and loving being there. My Uncle Eddie, one of my best friends. Uh, yeah, Slippery Eddie. He was a detective there. We always had this chip on our shoulder, like we're just,
Yeah.
my dad did, and his dad and his brothers and his sisters always had a chip on their shoulders, like we're just from kids from the block from Jersey City, didn't have a pot to piss in, so that mentality came from them, and I had a pot to piss in, you know what I mean? Like I had, like, I'm not saying my life was bad growing up by any means, like I'm
Right.
very lucky, but
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that mentality kind of traveled with me and still does, like,
Good job, Justin.
good job, Wilson.
Yeah, good job to you. Take it. That's a great job, man. Good job to you. Good job to you. Like, and again, just taking it full circle. When even in college, when I first met you, definitely always someone that I looked up to, where I was like, man, this guy, I would never have sort of thought that those were some of the, thoughts in your head, which is crazy. And the more I have conversations with people now, it's like that's kind of also like a cyclical story amongst people, where it's like, yeah, I had no idea, people had no idea that sort of these things were some of the things that you were dealing with or just kind of working through
Right.
at that time, which is crazy because we're still, like you said, very young, we're still very here.
Yeah, we just didn't understand. It was just like you're just living,
Yeah.
But now we have more clarity and
Yeah.
we're
Very
older
good,
and
man.
wiser. Yeah.
Good for you. I appreciate you, man. And so
Likewise.
like for someone that is going or has gone through something like that,
Mhm.
you would recommend speaking to someone, having the support.
Sure.
Is there any modalities that you do now other than thinking of like those couple of things that you were saying, like how am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way?
Yeah, I think I was encouraged to find an outlet other than like just like the clinical stuff. Like
Yeah.
I was told to just take my camera because she's like, "What do you like to do?" I like to take pictures.
Yeah.
And she's like, "All right, load up your camera and go for a photo walk or like
Yeah.
do something for yourself." So I encourage everybody, like if there's a tough moment, like um, do something for yourself. There was a colleague of mine that had some brain injury. Um, he was a Google colleague, and he was riding a bike and just like had a brain injury and fell. And every year that day, he does something for himself. It's called like my one day, he calls it. And like that resonated with me.
I love that.
Yeah, so like, he takes a day for himself, shuts his phone off, and just like he lives in California and he took a train from San Diego or Los Angeles all the way up the coast to San Francisco, I think, or around that area, and like took the train back. And that like resonates with me because I was like, now I haven't done that like a whole full day yet because I just physically can't because of my children. But like, yeah, exactly. Sorry, Gavin, I'm leaving for the day. She was supportive because I love her so much.
Yeah, congrats on that too, man. What a great
She's
story.
amazing.
Yeah,
She's amazing. So yeah, I just do something for yourself, whether it's like an hour or you take the dog for a walk, listen to a pod
Yeah.
or music. But like exercising a hobby is something that I do to refocus.
Yeah. And you're talented, bro. You have a perspective, and I think when you see the visuals, like the stuff that you take and share, I'm like, man, like there's a feeling, right? And I think that's what for most people, everyone has sort of their own perspective, but
Yeah, of course.
I can feel like when you're taking shots, like the moments, and that just comes across on what you do. And you've always had that actually visually, like when you did things like that. But now
Thank
that
you.
I hear like that's and then it kind of
Yeah, I can't do it as much as I want to. Like I
right.
used to just
Yeah.
go crazy,
I'm so
but like
glad, bro. I remember you still have probably a bunch of them, right?
yeah, yeah, they're all in the closet back there.
Yeah, really sweet.
Yeah, I'm just I got it's right next to me. You know what
Nice.
I mean?
Nice.
Like
Yeah,
this
man.
is like, but it's also capturing life. You know what I mean? Like when I took pictures of my kids years ago, I'm like this, and I get them developed or I process them. I'm like it doesn't mean anything right now because my child looks the
Yeah.
same as it does in the picture. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Right.
it's not stimulating. It doesn't have meaning to me at that time.
The nostalgia, right?
Yeah, like it doesn't like at the time I'm like, this is just like that's a shit picture.
Uh,
Not a shit picture, but like to me,
yeah.
like picture of my child is not a shit picture. Just bring that
Let me
up. Like,
clarify.
let me clarify. But like that moment doesn't mean anything to me at that moment.
Mm.
But like years from now, and especially now, like I have like Google Home on my TV and it
Yeah.
shows pictures, and I'm like, damn, like that picture has different meaning to me now than it did
Oh, I love
4 or
it.
5 years ago. And this goes
Wow.
to like my grandmother, dude. Like my grandmother always had a camera. She gave me a camera when I was a child.
Awesome.
Always had a camera in our
So cool.
faces, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nan. Always had a camera in our faces. Marie Dolan. And it was annoying. She was annoying about it. Like, and you could see videos. She used to do like the VHS videos, and like people would be like, get away from me, like the big ass headlight in people's faces. But like now, like I appreciate it because I have hours and hours of family videos that I can look back on and photos that I can look at. You know what I mean? So the meaning is so important to me.
Damn. Damn.
So yeah, you know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
like, I mean, it could be obvious to other people, but for me, it's just like as a photographer, I'm like, it doesn't like a photographer friend of mine. Um, I'm like, dude, like I am chasing a shot that doesn't exist out in the
Mm,
world that I
mm,
can't see because I can't leave my house like I used to. So like he goes, it doesn't matter, just take a picture of your life at the moment.
mm.
Like load up black and white film and just take pictures of your life at the moment. Um, and I'm like, all right, fuck it. And I've been doing that. I haven't done it recently, but I have to do it
Mm.
more, partially because my children don't stop moving and they don't really care when I take pictures, the irony. Um, but documenting life is important to me. And it's just all part of my uh, coping mechanism or just a release,
Yeah. Yeah. A couple things that just kind of reach out to me is one, just even the fact that you have photos on Google Home, and I'm like, man, that is such a great way to put like a positive energy out, even if you're like
Mm,
walking from one bedroom to another and you quickly glance at a photo and you're like, oh, I remember that, or that makes me feel good,
right.
versus not having that like
Hmm.
over a long period of time. Like the effect of that, Justin, is
Yeah. Yeah.
incredible, right? The
And
fact that I don't have that, I'm like, fuck. And then my next question is like, man, dude, who do I have that I can like? What are my happy memories? You know what I mean? It's like the people, like even with the kids or the step,
mhm.
like whatever. Patty's and I's situation as far as she having 4 kids, things like that, which we've
Yeah.
had some moments of good positive shit, but
Yeah.
which also then leads me to be like, how do I start creating more of that? I also think obviously there's different situations where it's like you have to be ready. Like other parties need to be ready, sort of like when you're
Yeah.
ready to be
Well,
okay with it. Yeah, and kind of grow up a little bit. But
so like I'm gonna share with you that like when my father was on hospice care at my mom's house, at his house, I did take photos of him in that state.
wow,
Uh because I saw there was a photographer that I follow that did the same thing. Like, you document all the happy times.
Mm,
You document when you come into this world. Like, why not try to document when you leave this world? Life is life, right? So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try and see how it goes. And if I don't like them, I can just throw them away.
mm,
Um, I don't know why I did it. It was just like kind of a thing. Like I was just like, let's see, because I was inspired by this person who did it, right? That's why. And I was,
right.
but like, I'm glad I did now because like looking ahead, I don't want to lose that feeling that I had at that moment. And I
Hmm.
feel if I look back at these photos, I personally may take myself to that place. If I want to,
Right.
if
Right.
I want to be a selective griever,
Right.
if that's a term, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Right.
like, these are very private photos for me. I don't think I shared them
Right.
with anyone, and I don't think I will. Um,
And that's
but
for you. Right.
I
That's
did
for you.
them intentionally to, and then some people can have their opinion, like, why would you take photos in that state, but they're very thoughtful,
Yeah. Yeah.
intentional, not exploitative in any way. It was just like, this is the moment of that my life is in right now,
Yeah.
and like, let me capture it, and if I so choose to revisit, selectively, I can.
Ye- and I would assume that the choice, like you're happy with it because you do have that option versus not having that
Yeah,
option.
I just don't want to move on in life and not feel what I felt, like in fear of, um
Yeah. Just kind of forgetting.
yeah, I don't want to forget, you
Yeah.
know. Um and
So,
like,
yeah, good.
some people selectively want to forget these moments, but like,
Right.
it's life, you know what I
Right.
mean? And like, this is life. Like, I'm gonna be in that situation one day, you know what I
Right.
mean? So like, it's everybody's, marching
Yeah,
to
and
the ends.
everyone's and going back to that, like
Yeah.
it's everyone's sort of own perspective and influence on what's going on in that situation and
Yeah.
how they would act, right? The actions on. So
And
again,
my
just
sister was there
yeah,
with me, and she was like, yeah, go for it. I took a picture of
support,
her too.
right?
Yeah,
Support,
support.
exactly.
And like, it wasn't like, oh wait, like,
Yeah, like
I'm
why
not
would
gonna
you
send
do
this
that?
to my
Right, right,
mom, but like, my mom probably wouldn't care that I did that. But again, it's not for anyone else but myself.
right. Yeah, and then I would just say, just going back to the full circle, it's just the one influence of just who you are as the individual, and then obviously an influence of a photographer that clicked with you in that moment, as far as like,
Yeah,
man, this makes sense to me. Like as far as like cycles of life, and as a photographer and capturing these moments,
got to
it was
document.
important, right? So
Yeah, it
influence
was very important to me. Yeah,
then drove that thought, drove the emotion of understanding that, which then led to your decision of actually taking that action, and now brought you to that outcome of actually having those photos, and then going back to saying, if you want to or when you want to, you don't the thought of not forgetting one, and if
right.
you ever want to be selective, then you have that outcome, you have that potential situation that you can go back to.
Yeah, and I do that from time to time. Like, I look back. You have memories on like your apps that show you like
Right,
this many years from now. And I don't want to like sanitize those feelings. Like, I don't. But,
right, right, because
and some may. Everyone's
yeah.
different.
Right. But life
Um,
isn't that, right? So life, it goes
right.
all these ups and downs. And man, I'm sort of inspired again, like you inspired, because for a while, I remember like I photos
Yeah,
too.
we were working.
There.
We were working together. We were
Yeah.
taking pics, giving advice to each other, and that's
Yeah.
fun. And I love doing
Yeah.
that stuff. Again, like, this time in my life, like that. I like, my purpose is different now. I wish I can document more.
Yeah.
But it's just, I just you know
Yeah.
have different
I'm gonna
things
encourage you
going
to
on.
do it. And even if it
Yeah,
just get yourself one of those little Kodak little.
I'm always ready. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm
I
always
know, man.
always going, but like, it's, yeah, no, I need to, like, it's just, I
Just what are those called? The little wind up ones?
oh, a disposable, yeah, I did
Yeah,
that
just get a bunch
recently
of
in Los
disposables for
Angeles.
now.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
awesome. I actually didn't pack my camera. I went to California last month for work, and I was like, fuck, like, why did I had my camera on my desk, and I just chose, I'm like, it's too heavy.
Yeah.
And like, so I was like, I was walking around Santa Monica. I was like, yo, I need a camera. Like, is there a place I
Yeah.
can rent one? Is somebody around here that would let me borrow it? Which the community is very
Yeah.
like helpful. I probably could have, but I just went to like Urban Outfitters and got a disposable for like $25. Like, this is so expensive and so dumb. But
Yeah.
like, it let me do what I wanted to do.
Cool.
Like, why did I deny myself
Yeah.
that moment of me leaving for the airport? I was like, nah,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna have time. I had plenty of time. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, but so I just, I'm not denying myself that outlet anymore. And Gab was like, why didn't you bring your cat? Like, what? And
What's
I'm
the
like,
matter with
yeah,
you? Yeah, right. Because
kind
you
of, but like,
typically fucking walk around with it, right?
bro, like, and I was just like,
You're
it's
like
too heavy.
you're like Nana.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, just like my
Right.
grandmother. And but yeah, I'm not gonna deny myself that anymore. I'm gonna,
Yeah, do
try to
that.
be.
I encourage you. I
Yeah,
want to see it, man. And send me some stuff. I'd love to. I'm gonna do
yeah.
the
I'll
same
send you
thing.
some pictures.
I actually have some stuff. Like I shot some stuff in Colombia with my grandmother. I talked to her yesterday.
That's great.
But she's up there. She's up there, and I'm like, wow. There was a moment, a span, I think, in people's lives that they don't age. Like my dad's sort of the same thing. I call him, I'm like,
Mm.
Pops, you haven't fucking aged. Like, you remember Pops? Like
Yeah,
he
of course.
he looks the fucking same.
That's
You know?
awesome.
He looks
That's
the
good
same.
genes. That's good genes right there.
Yeah. So it was, so definitely something something that I'm gonna start doing too, like in giving me that time to, and again, I think that align with
And
what
not
you're
for
saying.
work too. Don't
Right.
do it for work.
Correct.
Do it
Correct.
for
And
you.
that's reinforcing that, like do something for yourself as well. Like I feel like that's
Yeah,
important for people. Like go whatever that is, whether it's coloring or dancing or whatever,
yeah, yeah.
go
Do
fucking
it for
do
your.
it.
Go shopping.
Yeah, right.
Cook
All right. So I
something.
know you got to get going. I'm gonna give you
Yeah,
just 3 quick questions to end
of
this.
course.
Justin, again, man, what I appreciate you
I
very much,
appreciate you.
the perspective. And let's do this a little bit more, like even
Likewise.
if it's not recorded, but would love to
Yeah,
catch up with you.
yeah. I
Um,
hate the sound of my voice. So
everybody does, man.
I'm only doing this
Unless you get one of these mics.
ASMR.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
So first question would be, what is your life's current biggest regret?
Yeah. I think my biggest regret is not living in the moment. I've always looked to the future and what it's going to be, without even like appreciating the time we were in. Like, I don't think I appreciated the time we were in at school together. I was always thinking down the line.
Mm.
Like, so yeah, I think, and I'm still struggling with that. You know what I mean?
Similar,
Like,
right? Like you're
yeah,
here,
like, I
you're
don't want to
already
get
thinking
to,
of something else.
it's like going to like a football game and saying like, oh, like, what time are we leaving? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to just live life to get to the next point anymore. I want to appreciate the season that we're in,
Mm.
whether it's good or whether it's bad. I just want to, it's all a part of the story. So I just want to appreciate the season we're in, and not, look too far ahead and
Yeah.
rush life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because there's times for that. There's times to, figure out what we're doing next and stuff. But yeah, I agree with you,
Yeah.
man. This
Yeah.
weekend was similar to that, where it just kind of took a minute to be there. Really good. Appreciate the season. Okay, number 2, outside of kids and family, wives. What's your life's biggest accomplishment?
I just like really, like I mentioned here, I love my career. I love my purpose professionally. So I'm really proud of that. And the life that it provided for me and my family. Um, so yeah, I think that's one of my biggest accomplishments outside of my family, and my friends, like my network. You don't have
Mhm.
friends listed here as a, outside of
Yeah.
that. But I think I really value the relationships that I've created, everyone, Evan at school, Jamal, all of my network that I've created. I just value that. Like, that's like priceless to me. So, besides like my professional life and my home life, like my network is my biggest accomplishment, because that's all you got. All we got, baby.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Last thing, I think obviously we talked about it, was just more of what's one thing that you're working on changing moving forward?
Being present, really hard, put the fucking phone down. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, we're all just, in a place of battling addiction with screens and
Yeah.
algorithms. Um, you know, I don't know. I'm kind of, I'm so guilty of this, so it's hard for me to say. But like, what if I grew up showing, seeing my father and mother like scrolling on their phones constantly? You know what I mean? So I'm trying, but I'm failing. But after this conversation, I think I'm going to hold myself accountable a little bit because I said it publicly.
Good, man. I'm gonna hit you up too. Be like, hey, put your fucking phone down.
All
right, Justin, man. I appreciate you, man. This was a great one.
I appreciate you.
Again, yeah, and let's do it again. And for the people out there, if you are going through something, just remember it's all temporary. It's just the thoughts in our head, man. We gotta learn how to change them, learn how to change the prompt.
We all have a choice, right?
We all have a choice, man. Be part of the season. And we'll talk to you guys on the next one. Keep crushing it. Don't forget, nothing changes until you do. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.